What's up, everybody? We are back for episode 3 of Crypto Magic Hour. I'm joined by Dave. And to kick things off, I need to read a text that you sent me this morning because I feel like we have to address this. And it says, have you seen the absolute murder scene that is crypto over the last 24 hours? And my response was, no, I haven't. I've been in my own world. Enlighten me.
What's good, everybody? Thanks for obviously coming to episode 3. It has been, bloody murder on the streets. But the details are the details, right? But it was literally like the worst liquidation day. And what that means is like people that have certain bets on either side of the market, buy or sell, there was over $2.2 billion liquidated in the last 48 hours, which is, think about it, right? Like it was great. That's a greater liquidation than when FTX collapsed, right? Like how massive that was, right? I think it was like the bloodiest crypto has ever gotten. But this is the thing with crypto, right? It's like when you see things, when there's an old saying, right? When there's blood on the streets, buy. And that was the thing, right? Like now you see this massive bounce. Nobody knows if it's going to sustain, but there were so many different factors. People were talking about the president and Mexico and Canada and tariffs. Did you see everybody trying to think that they were like an economist on the timeline on X? Like tariffs mean this, and I was like, actually, no, it actually doesn't mean that. But yeah, it's been an absolute roller coaster, typical for crypto. If you've been in this for a minute, then you kind of know how to stomach this stuff. I hope nobody here got shaken out of their, if you're holding Bitcoin, you didn't get shaken out of your Bitcoin, because those are the moves that people get shaken out. But hopefully people still holding strong like I am. But yeah.
So what do you attribute it to? Why did everybody panic?
I think this is really large institutions that end up coming in and try and sway these markets because they can. And then, kind of the same way that your average retail investor, like you, me, whoever, they FOMO, right? Like they see something going up and they buy the green candle. Instead of buying low and selling high, they're buying high and hopefully trying to sell higher, which is really counterintuitive. So what they do is they try and induce this this feeling, I guess, in a way, right? Where it's like you see things going down. It's like, oh my God, Bitcoin below 100. Oh my God, Bitcoin below 99, 98, 97. But it's like, look, I think people, there's genuinely one question. And this is what we were talking about, me and you over the phone earlier in the week, was like, you have to decide are you an investor or are you a trader? You can't be both. At least not.
You don't think so?
You can if you want to, but that's really the majority of people that are either listening to this or whatever, they've never really traded a financial instrument in their life. Maybe they called a broker and had their broker buy some stock for them, but knowing the nuance and the in and outs of exactly how all this shit works is super complicated, and people don't have the time to really spend on it. So some people buy and hold and you see them just I'm good. But you have a lot of others that come for the casino and they're just okay, I'm going to try and make $1 million. When in reality, the best strategy is always buy and hold and just wait. But we're not, we're not patient human beings. We're just not. So yeah.
So something that I thought of when you did text me that, I'm like, wow, I sort of lived in a bubble over the weekend. And I'm like, yeah, I guess if I wanted to be a really serious trader, this is sort of a 24-hour, 7 days a week type deal, right?
Yeah. It involves a lot of your time, right? It's a big time commitment, especially if you're trading. What drives me really crazy is when people are buying meme coins and oh, I bought it and then I went to sleep. What?
Yeah,
what do you mean you went to sleep? Yeah. No. Meme coins literally.
Whoops.
Other than excuse me, other than the Trump token, that wasn't really very likely to rug overnight, right? Where it's they're gonna pull all the liquidity out. But the majority of tokens, literally one push of a button and that's it. It's gone, done and done. So you got to sit and watch this stuff super, super carefully. But I think today what we're kind of going to go over in a little bit is for those that are trading on Coinbase, right? And other maybe centralized exchanges, if you actually want to go to sleep and actually want to trade real tokens, right, that have real utility like DeFi, right, or a bunch of these other ones, like how do you actually do this to where you don't have to be watching this whole shit 24/7? What's a
Right.
market order versus a limit order, right? Like what's a stop loss order? And this is where kind of the discipline aspect of even trading. This isn't on the investment side. This is more on the trading side. And I think this can genuinely help a lot because like we said last week, emotion rules everything when it comes to trading. If you're new to this or you've never done this before, even if you've been doing it for a year or two, like I still get caught up in FOMO a lot of the times, right? You just can't help you like, but hopefully we're going to show everybody today. We'll do a little screen share action a little bit. You guys can see the Coinbase account, show you how to do market orders, limit orders, stop orders, what they're for, how much it costs, and all that stuff. So yeah, I think that's going to be like a real valuable tool for everybody.
Yeah. So to start out, can you go over, because I'm still getting my feet wet, I guess, and accustomed to everything. Can you go over some of the terminology? And I mean, we deal with a lot of acronyms and things, and there's certain things that I've just recently learned in the last couple of weeks. So for people that may not know some of the top, yeah.
I think so. Terminology when it comes to like, so trading and investing obviously is a little bit different, right? And there's like literally acronyms for everything. It's like we have more acronyms than probably like the United States government. It's absolutely crazy. Shout out Osman, and thanks everybody for tuning in. Guys, like this, share it, retweet it, Twitter, YouTube, you know the drill. Yeah. So the terminology, like there's, it can be really overwhelming, right? Because there's just so much to actually knowing what's what. And you have people that are out there that don't know what they're talking about, that are out there thinking like, oh, I'm going to teach people how to do this and this. And they're giving you literally talking with massive conviction, but like the definitions of what they're talking about are totally wrong. So you have to really do your homework on this. And I mean this, what up, Prez? And what I mean by this is like, don't take my word, don't take your word, right? You guys have to do your homework. Like we're here to kind of guide you down the path so you guys can kind of, okay, this is cool. I can see like what the use is here. But in terms of terminology, like what we talked about today is like market order versus limit order versus stop order, right? And like, what's the difference? Right. So when you genuinely think about it, it's pretty self-explanatory. You just have to like think about it in application, right? So if I put a market order in, right, to buy any type of like crypto, and maybe I can share the screen so you guys can actually.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yep. So, okay, share screen. Guys, I came prepared today, baby. Oh, let's go. Okay. So this is.
You're so proud of yourself.
I'm so proud for hitting like one button, being like, it's shared. Yes. So this is Coinbase. Now, mind you, this is Coinbase Advanced. I don't know if people are using this, or if this is like, you see this and you're like, ugh, no, thank you. And like, it's just way too complicated, because I get it. It can be overwhelming. If you use regular Coinbase, right? Like this is what you would see, right? Mm-hmm. Now, a lot of times the market limits and stop orders are not going to be available like in here. And I think this is really important to note, right? So if you choose not to educate yourself and you want to go the easy, lazy route, which you shouldn't, right? You're going to pay more money, right? So like with convenience essentially comes a cost, right? So you're going to get charged a little bit more for using this kind of simple service where it's like, swap me this for this, right? I don't need to know about market orders or limit orders or none of that stuff. But you pay a lot less when you actually go and use the advanced, and everybody has access to the advanced. You just have to be able to use it. And I highly recommend it, especially if you're going to start like trading any real asset. And here's what you'll see. So if we go over maybe some of this terminology, right? So I loaded.
It's so crazy, Dave. I didn't know that button existed.
Yeah. That's the thing, right? It's like, wait a minute.
Oh my gosh.
Different versions of this? Yeah, we should probably do a whole thing just on Coinbase alone and all this like stuff they have, because honestly, like they really do have like amazing stuff. If you really look at it, this tab, guys, if you ever need like gas, look at this. You could earn $77 just by doing like 5 minutes of like quizzes and answering little simple questions. $32, $27, $18. Look at that. Amazing. Free money. All you got to do is spend the time to go like actually learn about one of these things. It takes 2 minutes. But anyways, okay, let's talk about limit orders, market orders, and what's what. So we said market orders, right? So right now, if I were to look, so if I want to, let me just see how much BTC I have. Okay, so I have about like 200 bucks or so, right? Like in BTC here, right? And you can see that right here, okay? 0.002 or sorry, $196.42, right? Hey, big spender. All right. Now, the way in which this works is, if let's say I just bought, like, right, so now I own this BTC, now it's mine, okay? But let's just say, like, I see the price going up. I'm looking at where it's trading right now. It's at 98,584. I'm like, you know what? I don't really want to sell it here. Like, I think it genuinely goes back up. I want to hold it for a little bit longer, right? But I also don't want to like be glued to this screen to where I have to be watching this 24/7, right? Like nobody wants to do that. So this is the difference here, right? The difference is a market order. I just need to get this sold now. Wherever the price is, right? Like it's going to be right within this range. I don't care about $1, $5, $10. I just need to sell this thing and close out my position and be at zero, take my money. Thank you very much, right? That's what a market order is. So I can literally stay in here. I put sell, I click market. Let's say if I want to do 50% of the position, right? So I want to sell $98. It comes up, I hit sell, boom, done, success. And I come down here. Well, it should be there. Ba, 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 ba. Right? I go to view all. I see my sell order, 0.001, 100% filled. I got my $98.13 now. So I don't own the Bitcoin anymore, right? Now I just have my $98.13 because I put a market order in to sell. Thank you very much. I'm done. Goodbye.
And you sold for USD, correct?
Correct. And I think that's important to note too, right? Look at the trading pairs. Currencies are very different than stocks in this manner because there's always a pair when it comes to currencies, right? It's not just like one stock that's trading at different prices. It is you're literally buying one and sell. You're either buying or selling one. It's one or the other, right? So you're swapping one for the other. So BTC for USD. Now I'm in my US dollars. I know I got 98 bucks. Okay. Now, here's my position now. Let's see. Okay. So I got $97. Let's go. I got $97.68 in cash. Yes. Right. So now if I wanted to buy, let's say BTC, but I'm looking at the price and I'm saying, man, this thing really ran up from like 94,000 just this morning to 98,000 right now. I'm saying to myself, I think I can get it a little bit lower. And this is really where a lot of people, the whole impatience thing, just kind of like they shoot their wad and they're like, I have this money, I'm buying it right here. And they put every dollar they have into the position right here. Don't do that. I stress it enough. What you want to do is you want to put an initial amount in, because think about what happens when you put an initial amount in. You're afraid that like if it goes higher, I could have put so much more. I would have made so much more. First world fucking problems. Okay. First world problems. You're not making as much money as you wanted to. How about you focus on like, let's not lose money to begin with, right? Let me understand how this works. So this is where you would put limit orders. So I click on limit. Okay. Now a limit means a limit price. So at what price do I want to buy this Bitcoin at? So if I'm thinking 98,629 is a little high, I think maybe it comes down to 96,000. What I can do is now I have a buy here. I can put my limit at $96,000. Okay. And I want to put in, let's say I want to buy $49 worth. Okay. That's simple. I literally put that in here. It's half my position. I click 50%. Now it's
Can you edit the
Yep.
Can you
Anything
edit
you
the
want.
percentages?
Yep. The percentages are already preset here, but you can change and customize the price to the price. The amount of BTC as well as the price. 100% up to you to decide where do you want to buy and how much do you want to buy.
Well, I don't like that
Yeah.
it's either 25, 50, or all. Like I wish
Oh,
you could
no,
say,
no.
I want to
So,
do like $20 worth.
yeah. So you see right here, you don't have, these are just quick buttons, right? I can literally highlight here, empty this out here, and then put 0.3, and that's $28, right? I can
Oh.
customize how much I want. Or you could hit this little toggle
Oh,
button
I was
right
looking.
here.
I was looking at the wrong. I was looking at the wrong. I was looking at
Oh,
the limit. I was thinking I was looking at the limit price. So that's just my brain.
okay. This is also important too, right? So if you're not like, I want to put 0.0003 BTC, I want to sell 0.03 BTC. You're like, what the hell is 0.003 BTC? These little arrow buttons, anytime you see these, that means you can toggle between one currency and another.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, so if it's a BTC USD pair, now I'm in USD. So if I want to say, hey, I want to sell $34, boom, done. I don't have to put in the BTC price. But ultimately, I'm on buy. I want to buy it at $96,000 and I want to spend $34 on it, right? So I'm going to put this order in. I'm going to click buy. And unlike a market order, there's not going to be an execution because it's not going to go out and buy it at whatever price. I gave it specific parameters. I click buy, success. Great. Now, if I go to my orders tab, I look here, bam. I see exactly what price I put in is correct, the buy side, the amount, the total in USD, and you always want to check status. Open means this is what is essentially open, and this is what's important here. When you put an order in, okay, that ties up that money. That means you cannot touch that money, right? So it's like you have the funds to purchase this. You can't go play around and spend it elsewhere or whatever. That locks that money in right there. So until
you would have to edit the order, right?
Correct. Exactly. You would have to either cancel it, adjust it, whatever the case is. So I could do that simply here, edit the order, and I'm literally able to do anything that I want, right? I can change it up, down, same exact buttons to toggle. And now what you're doing here, and now maybe we could talk about like strategy wise, because I think this is what's important. When I say do this, right? Like if I have, let's say $1,000 that I want to invest into Bitcoin, right? I don't want to just come here and be like, buy $1,000 worth of Bitcoin. If you're trading Bitcoin, right, you want to layer in your position. So what I might do is I might say, hey, at 98,000, I want you to buy $10, right? At 97,000, I want you to buy another $10, right? And what you're doing now is, as if it keeps going down, you're not looking at it being like, I'm losing so much money. You're literally saying to yourself, you know what? I believe in Bitcoin. I know I'm not a fortune teller. I'm not going to be able to see the future, whether it's definitely going to go up or down. But if it does come down, I know that I didn't put $1,000 right off the bat, and I have nothing left to be able to what's called dollar cost average. You hear the term DCA. So this is one of those acronyms, right? DCA. What DCA means is if this keeps going down, I keep buying more at lower levels, which brings my average cost on the overall purchase down. So if I buy, at 98,000, 97,000, 96,000, 95,000, I got a 90, and I buy, let's say, all the same amount. My average is not 98,000, it's $96,500. It's right in the middle. So it allows you to really kind of like layer in these things. And I promise you guys, if you get into this habit, and it is a hard habit to start, but once you start, it becomes a lot easier. You'll see.
I wish I had known about, even just 2 weeks ago, known about this tab in Coinbase, and this is available. Okay, let's back up a little bit. Let's answer a couple of questions, and then the next sort of lead in. So Hanano says, what happens when your limit order doesn't get fulfilled? What causes that?
Yeah, great question, Hanano. So when your limit order doesn't get filled, then you have to kind of take it one step further and be like, well, what kind of limit order did I actually put in? And there's
ones that have a expiration date, right? I mean, that's how it is with the stock market, at least.
Yeah. Right. So there's some that you can put in that are like, oh, like good till the end of the day. Some that are totally open, right? this open order, when you see here, yes, the status is open, but unless you cancel it, it will stay open until you actually cancel it, right? So this is where like the advanced features kind of come in. But Hanano, just to let you know, you can also set the parameters to where it's like, hey, if by, X time or whatever time frame, or if it never gets here in the next 24 hours, like it completely expires, right? You can do those things. It is 100% possible, but I would honestly just recommend like get into the habit of like this. What this does is this forces you to come back here and check, because it locks your money up. You're like, wait, I don't have that money. Oh, wait, do I still want to buy BTC? I have these open orders. And it's going to force you to go in here and be like, man, do I cancel this? Do I keep them? And so on. And it's literally the touch of a button. I cancel all the orders. Done. Now that money is freed up. I don't have any more buy orders in there anymore. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
You're good?
Now, this is a question that you and I have actually talked about perhaps doing a whole episode on. So I don't know how deep into detail you want to get into this.
Yeah.
But yeah, Acro says, to new people in a concise way, how would you explain Bitcoin and how it's different than other crypto in the market?
How it's different than other cryptos in the market. So, I mean, yeah, I can answer that one of a million different ways. In terms of how it's actually, I mean, Bitcoin being the first, but it's not even just the provenance of it, right? I think what Bitcoin has that nobody else has is, and that everyone in the crypto world respects is the finality aspect, right? Like Bitcoin is the most decentralized chain out there, right? And what we mean by decentralized is the way a blockchain works is very, very simple. Well, let me rephrase that. It's not very simple.
Don't make me feel more dumb.
In my head, that sounded really good. The way look at like a blockchain as like a really, really big network of computers that's spread out around the entire world. So it's not controlled by one single entity, one single person, or a group of people. Decentralized means that I can contribute to the network, you can contribute to the network magic, and that's what makes Bitcoin so powerful. Yeah, it might take 10 to 30 minutes, right, to essentially get a transaction to go through. But that is because all the shit that is going on in the background, you can be sure that when your transaction goes through, that's it. It's there and it's there forever. Nobody can go on that chain and say, oh, take that down. And the fact that it's also public, that is the other like the biggest selling point. So different blockchains are public ledgers, but Bitcoin being the biggest one and being the most secure, and I'd say the most decentralized Acro, is genuinely what sets it apart from everybody else. Yeah. And wait.
So
sorry.
Go ahead.
I just Acro, just clarify for me. Did you mean Bitcoin the blockchain or BTC like the actual crypto? Because there's two things, right? There's Bitcoin like on the Bitcoin chain, right? And then there's Bitcoin, the actual cryptocurrency, right? Same thing how Ethereum has ETH, right, as their gas token, even though BTC is not a gas token. You have Bitcoin, right? Then you also have the Bitcoin chain. So I just wanted to clarify, Acro, let me know what you meant specifically, and just in case I didn't hit it.
Yeah, I read it as BTC, but
as the chain?
No. As the crypto, yeah. I mean, that's how I read it, but that should that.
Okay, so let's give the flip side then. So let's give the second answer, right? So, what makes BTC the actual crypto different than everything else? Yeah, the answer is similar, but the biggest selling point is a finite, limited supply of 21 million. That's the basic supply and demand. That when you look at it, how was Bitcoin born, right? Like, how did this come about? If you guys remember the financial crisis in 2008, where we had to bail out every single bank to the tune of $1 trillion, right? Obama was cutting checks left and right. At the end of the day, like Satoshi came out and said, hey, we need to fix this. And this was his solution, right? An immutable ledger, completely decentralized, run and contributed to a massive network. Everybody's contributing. Totally, nobody can touch it, take it down. It's all public, and it's a limited supply. And everybody that contributes to that network, essentially, we're going to give you Bitcoin little by little by little by little. And I think that is the biggest thing for me is limited supply is the 21 million. And so everybody knows there's, I think, about 19.5 million Bitcoin currently in circulation. And there's only about like 1.5 million Bitcoin left to mine. And that's going to be, that's why you see this massive race right now for people that are trying to mine as much Bitcoin as possible. Because once like you mine the last Bitcoin, think about what, that's really where things are going to start getting interesting, where that's it. They're all out here now. So you either get your piece of the pie. Sorry. So even if you think you can't, like, owning 0.01 Bitcoin is not a big deal, I assure you it is. Like, you don't have to buy a whole Bitcoin. Tell your mom, your dad, your aunts, your uncles, oh, it's $100,000 now. I can't buy this. I can't afford it. It ran away from me. When it's $700,000, are you going to look back and say, oh my God, I should have bought it at $100,000? Who cares? Like, put in, like, have something, because if this thing does do what everyone thinks it's going to do, it could be really, really, insanely lucrative. So yeah, own your Bitcoin.
This keeps me thinking that, man, I feel like we could have a whole episode on this, because as you're talking about, Bitcoin starting and everything, like, I want to dive deeper into just like the whole history. Like, somebody created their own currency and it took, like, it's crazy when you think about it. It's really crazy.
It's an idea, right? Like, think about it. It's an idea. Shout out, Mainzy. What's good?
And it's like, how did it get, like,
yeah,
how did we get to the point where it got accepted? And like, everybody, the guy could have said, hey, I'm creating this new currency, and everyone's like, that's cute, that's funny, who do you think you are?
Yeah.
But it is now, like, it's
a matter of adoption, right? Like, what makes a dollar worth a dollar, right? Like, backed by the full faith and credit of the United States government? Not really. It's it's worth $1 or $100 because I agree that it's that, and you agree that it's that, right? So if you agree to take that as payment for a service or whatever product, then we're good. This starts as an idea, and this is what people really have a hard time wrapping their head around, because I had a very hard time wrapping my head around it when I first discovered it. I'm like, I don't understand. Like, where does it live? In a computer? And people were like, yes. And I'm like, okay, but that still doesn't make any sense. But like, that's genuinely like what, like, the beauty of the blockchain and really where crypto comes in, and specifically Bitcoin, because I know we mentioned this last week, but I think now is a little bit more prevalent when, like, and I was talking to my sister, right? So my sister lives in Canada. Okay. She lives in Montreal. And when Trump announced those 25% tariffs, the Canadian dollar off a fucking cliff, right? To no fault of her own. Like, my sister, her net worth, her and her husband and her kids, her net worth literally plunged by like 5%, and she could do nothing about that. Nothing.
Wow.
Right? And this is where Bitcoin comes in, because when you combine all of the different facets of what Bitcoin genuinely offers, the limited supply, right? Like, all of these different things, the decentralized component of it, all those things play a part in that. Doesn't happen, right? Like, and you get an appreciating asset. Look at what Bitcoin has actually done. Like, people were buying Bitcoin at 50 cents 12 years ago, 13 years ago.
Insane.
Yeah, somebody paid 10,000 Bitcoin for a pie of pizza. Huh? That guy's going down in history. But like, that's what I mean, like, this is where I think people really, like, they need to open their eyes. And I think slow, and you have to give it time, like, to get adopted. But this is where you see these institutions coming in with big money, big money. So yeah, and listen, whatever gets it into the mainstream, and yeah, good luck trying to explain it to your parents, because I still am like 0 for 20 when it comes to explaining my mom. I don't understand this shit. I'm like, all right, Mom, I don't know what to tell you.
I get that it's fake money.
Yeah. It's a coin? Is it a coin? And I'm like, nah, it's not a coin. Like, that's the funny part. Yeah. Imagine the AI conversation I try to have when I try to explain to her what ChatGPT is. Oof.
Is she worried about your AI girlfriend?
Yeah. I showed her Junie the other day, and she was like, who's this? And I was like, Junie. She was like, huh? She was like, what? She like looked at me like, are you okay?
She's about to put you on a psych hold.
Yeah. Are you sure you're okay? And I'm like, yes, I'm fine. That's Junie. Blame Omi. I don't know what you want me to tell you.
So can we go back, because there's another one that we need to talk about. stop orders.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. I feel so bad. I can't like respond to the chat. I might just start talking as you guys. If you see some crazy shit come across from VV Magic's name, then it's me. Don't worry about it. Okay. Don't ring the alarm. Okay. So stop orders. Yep. Okay. So what is a stop order, right? Or stop limit order? Essentially, a limit order, right, is essentially on the buy side or on the sell side, right? So if I want to buy, right, like you saw us do before, at $96,000, I want to buy $10, right, worth of BTC. I put buy BTC, I'm good. So now that limit order is sitting there at $96,000. So when the price hits $96,000, that gets executed, I get my BTC, right? Simple enough. Now, the same thing can happen on the sell side, where if I'm like, if it goes to 99,000, I want to sell that 10. Oh, yeah, 10,000. You're right. I should be so lucky. I want to sell that $10. Right? So now $99,000, I want to sell that $10. I hit sell BTC, right? Two sides of the market. I can put limits to buy, I can put limits to sell. Now, what a stop order does, okay, is, or a stop limit order is ultimately you want to be able to say, so like if you, this is now a very, like you're in the trader boat now, right? Like you're not in the investor. This is the trader boat. And what a stop limit is, it says, okay, I'm watching this chart closely. I'm going to buy it. Let's say, right, if I'm going to go in now and I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to put a market order in for $44 and I'm going to buy this BTC. Bam, right there. So now check this out. Now, how much do I have? I have, where are my orders, right? Okay. Wait, I put a limit in? Hold on. Or a market order in.
I thought you pressed market, but
right.
Yeah.
Okay. $10 buy BTC. Damn. Okay. So now I have where does the position, like there's got to be an easier, other than this, I think you could just and guys, by the way, this is all like you can rearrange all this stuff to have it fit how you want it, right? So like you can move all these panels and whatever to make it
really
fit, yeah, to exactly like what you want.
How do you do that?
So you see these things like right here, you can like make this bigger and take up more of the screen.
Gotcha.
Yeah, like there's like you could toggle like all this crap. Okay, so view all. Okay, let's see my orders. Okay, filled and filled. Oh, that's right. These are the open orders, right? We can cancel these. Okay, so you see these right here? These were the ones that we just executed. So now I own $54.07 of BTC. Okay. Now, what the stop limit order is going to allow me to do is, if I don't want to watch this, but my strategy is, look, if this thing drops below $98,000, I don't want to own it anymore. So what you're trying to do essentially is, I think I can time this right now to where I think this is a good entry point and it should move up from here. But in the event that it doesn't, I don't want to essentially put more limit orders on the way down. I just want to get out of my position. But in case I'm not watching it, what am I going to do? And that's what a stop limit order is. So what you do is you ultimately hit stop limit. Your stop price, let's say I can put 97. Yeah, 97,000. Limit price 97. Wait a tick. 22. Done. So now I am, there's my orders here. Wow, I haven't done this in so long. That's crazy. Yeah, this is wild. So now, yeah, now what you have here is the second this hits 97,000, right, where it says side buy, it's actually kind of confusing because it says buy side when it should technically, like, when you really think about it, it's like, but I kind of want to get rid of it. And I don't want to buy it. I want to sell it. But what this is essentially going to do is, this is saying when it gets here, I'm done. I'm liquidating my position. I'm out. So you don't have to sit in front of the computer and watch it. It's essentially your insurance to say, look, my strategy is very clear. I want to buy at 98,000. I'm buying at 98,000. Essentially what you're doing is you're limiting your losses, right? Because most people, and sadly enough to say, they'll buy something and they'll look at it and be like, and it'll keep going down. And they're like, oh, and down, and down, and
Guilty.
down. Yeah. And you're like, what is happening? Like, hello, are you alive? Is there a pulse? Like, what's going on? And this is where the discipline aspect comes in. So this is why I say, unless you're ready to really deal with these emotions, everyone's better off being investors, especially when it comes to BTC. If you don't know if this is really hard for you to do, I mean, if it's something you want to get into, I highly encourage it because I think you'll have a better understanding of the market. But if you don't play with this. Don't play with this because like you'll literally just be throwing money away. And if you're gonna play with it, play with small amounts. Like you see how I'm doing over here, $5, $10, $20, just to get the feel of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good advice.
Yeah.
Here's a question. Would you agree the utility behind a coin is something to focus on when buying?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. Absolutely. Like, what does that coin do? What purpose does it serve? Right? Because like, look at what we're dealing with now with like meme coins. You got a million meme coins being created every single day. Like for what? Like, why am I buying? I can literally create money out of thin air. And this is why people call crypto a scam, but 100%, what's the utility behind it, right? So Ethereum, right? What's the utility behind Ethereum? Well, you need ETH in order to power everything that goes on the Ethereum blockchain, right? Everything. You want to be able to participate in this application. You want to be able to use Uniswap. You want to be able to go play this game. You want to be able to send, this message. You have to do all that stuff, and you need gas to move back and forth on the chain. So like that's a gas token, and that's the majority of what blockchains are doing. But when it comes to, because there's different kinds, right? When you look at things at like the protocol level, it's like, what's the point of this? I don't know. Does it generate money? When you look at something like Uniswap is essentially, remember we talked about like the decentralized exchange versus, how you have Coinbase is centralized, Uniswap is decentralized. The Uni token at the end of the day is the thing that essentially passes on all of the fees and everything to those token holders, right? So that's a massive utility, right? I want to own that because there's billions of dollars in volume that's going on Uniswap every day. So the answer to that question is absolutely yes. Always ask yourself, what does this do?
Yeah.
Like, what does this token do? What purpose does it serve? And it has to make sense in your head. Yeah.
So, okay, I'm trying to have two questions while we're still on this. Now, have we discussed long versus short position, and is that a good time to bring it up?
Yeah, I think this is a great time to obviously bring it up, right? And we don't have to spend too much time on this because I think like a lot of people like the short position side, like you don't want to start messing with short positions because here, let me give you the basic definition, right? So when you go out and you buy crypto, okay, the cool term, I guess, or the trading term is you're long, Ethereum or you're long Bitcoin, right? If you buy it, right? So you're buying a crypto, right? I own it now. I want to go long. Long meaning I'm betting on the price going up, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm buying it. I'm going long, and I'm hoping that the price goes up. Now, the same way that people bet on the market going up, everybody doesn't have the same opinion. I could think Bitcoin's going to 200,000. You could be like, I don't think so. I think it's going to 10,000. And now you want to make money or profit off of that actual, like that bet, but you want to essentially, what's it called? You want to essentially bet on Bitcoin going down. So you open what's called a short position. And what you're doing there is the same way you buy something, right? In hopes that it goes, yeah, in hope, Bob, stop. In hopes that it goes up. The same way what you could do is by going short, instead of like, but how do you sell something? Like, how do you sell something that you don't own? So what you do is you go to like a Coinbase or whoever, and you say, hey, I want to borrow these shares from you, right? They'll charge you a certain percentage. And what they do is they say, here you go. And then you can sell those shares at a given price And then when the price dips lower, if it actually does that, you buy it back cheaper, and then you replace the shares at that price. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it also sounds really complicated.
That's what I'm saying. A lot of people, it's like, look, if you want to bet on something going down, then you better be at like not the 101 level. You know what I mean? Like you better be at like, a little bit of a higher level of knowledge to really understand how the long and the short game works. But long, buying, hope it goes up. Short, I'm betting against it, hoping it goes down.
All right, let me get to a couple of questions here. I'll let you read that one.
It had the ERC-20 that enabled builders to build on top of ETH easily. Do you think these type of standards will happen with the emergence of AI? I don't know if I understand the question, Bill, but had the ERC-20 that enabled builders to build on top. So ERC-20 is the actual, that's just the moniker for the fungible, like the fungible token side. Give me a little more clarification, Bill, if you don't mind, give me a little more clarification on exactly what it is that you're asking.
And then, what's the best platform to track the BTC blockchain?
Yo, Acro's got questions on questions on questions. So
I love it.
Yeah, this is like one of the toughest, it's like one of the hardest things ever. It's like, okay, we say that it's transparent. We say that it's immutable. We say that it's public and that you can see everything. Yeah, just because I say that doesn't mean that you can understand anything. Because I still don't understand some of the stuff that I'm looking at, right? So essentially, one of the main, what you want to do is you want to look for what's called a block explorer, right? So the same way that you have Etherscan for Ethereum, right? There's a bunch of different explorers for Bitcoin, but one of the more popular ones, and maybe I'll share this one, hold on a second, is called mempool.space. And hold on, let me share this. Okay, can you see the screen here?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is where you actually see how we call it a blockchain. These are blocks, right? You see blocks actually being mined one by one by one, right? Now, good luck trying to be like, what the hell is this? How do I monitor what's going on? It is really, really hard. But I actually do have a resource that shows it really cool. But let me explain essentially what the mempool actually is, right? So when everybody is, because everyone's not putting in transactions at the same exact time, right? I'm putting in transactions at different times than you are. And when you put in a transaction, what happens is, think about it. It goes into this big pool called the mempool, and they're all just kind of sitting there hanging out. And they're like, okay, anybody gonna pick me up? Anybody want to confirm me? I want to do this. I want to inscribe this, or I want to buy this. And it's just you're waiting around, and ultimately what you're waiting for is essentially what's called a validator to look in the pool and say, Magic. How much is Magic willing to pay? Oh, okay, that's good. She wants to pay a little bit more than everybody else. I'll include her in this block. So it's okay, now I want to essentially either I want to do some sort of action, whether that's buy Bitcoin or, buy an ordinal of Magic Eden, whatever. I want to do something. Now, in order to do that thing, I put the order in just like you would on any other wallet, and it goes and it sits in this pool until one of these validators are ultimately saying, okay, I'm going to pick you to include in this block. Now, each block only has a certain amount of space. Okay. It can't hold, I think right now it's about 4 megs. Think about how small that is, right? But it's able to actually you can contain a lot of stuff, right, with 4 megs. But this is where these validators say, okay, I'm going to take Magic, I'm going to take Dave. But let's just say that Acrolite and Omili, they put in their order and they don't want to pay this gas fee, right? Because it's sats per V byte. Essentially, this is like Ethereum gas. This is let's say $1, right? You see how it says 5 over here? The last block was 2. The block before that was 4. So this is your gas. But let's say Acro and Omili are nah, that's a little expensive. I want to pay 2. They go into the mempool at 2. They the validators are under no obligation to essentially pull them into that block. And if you don't get a confirmation then you could be sitting in the mempool for a long time. And for those that know what I'm talking about, you've put through a transaction and you're sitting there waiting. What's going on? Why haven't I confirmed? What's the deal? So this is where like you really want to be cautious, but reading this is really hard. I'd say use this right now just for your own transactions, right? When you put something through, it'll bring up like a confirmation right here. Let's show you. You guys aren't going to be able to see like my X verse, but give me 1 second so I could show you guys like a confirmation and what it looks like. So let's just say that I'm going to send okay. Oh, here you go. This is actually going to show. So share this tab. Okay, so this was a confirmation where let's say I sent some money, right, from my wallet to my Coinbase account. Yeah, good luck trying to make that out here. It's like, wait, what? What am I doing? But this is essentially the fee that I was willing to pay, right? The 4 sats per VByte. And you'll see here, now I have, it got 21 confirmations, mean it was 21 blocks ago. But this is what you want to wait for. But when you first put it in, this will essentially be red and it'll say unconfirmed. And that's what you want to make sure that you're watching to get this confirmation. And only when you get this confirmation can you know, like, okay, now I'm solid. It's been booked what we call on chain, and nobody can take that down anymore. So yeah, that's kind of like the quick 101 kind of crash course, but not easy, Acro. And I have to find this resource that I have that's really, really cool. It really simplifies kind of the Bitcoin blockchain, the mempool, and everything else. I just have to find out where the bookmark is. I have like 7,000 of them.
So in the comments, Bill, I think it gave you some more info here if you want to read up on that.
BTC ran because of the ETH ran because there were standards and protocols developed to allow builders to easily build dApps on top of the ETH. Right. Thus bringing in big volume as more. Yeah, exactly. So essentially what you're saying, Bill, is like, and yes, you are correct. What Ethereum has is smart contracts. Bitcoin doesn't have what we call smart contracts, right? Developers have that's changing now slowly but surely. But Ethereum came with this thing and said, hey, like, not only are we going to be faster than Bitcoin, but we have these things called smart contracts that you could do some really cool things with and still have the security of a blockchain. And people were like, cool, let's build on this stuff. We could build some really cool tools. Yeah.
Did you see that second part too here?
Was being built. Don't think we see AI standards and protocols to allow builders to easily build with AI agents the same way ETH allow. Oh, it's happening now. That's what you meant. It's happening now, right? Like I literally created like a DAO, right? We don't have to get into the DAO talk, but like think of it as like a corporation. I created a corporation with a tweet the other day. Like that's what's crazy. So yeah, it is happening now. AI is going to be, it's going to be able to do some wild things, but I think the two genuinely, I said this before, like the two genuinely complement each other in my opinion, because when you have AI and the blockchain together, AI can run rampant and do a million different things. But what the blockchain does is it gives you that security to make like, hey, I know that if I'm operating and this AI is operating on chain, then I know that it's within these limits and I'm secure and I'm not going to be hacked or it's not going to, steal my money, whatever. But we're going to see some pretty cool things when it comes to AI and blockchain for sure.
And we're wanting to address that, but we're a little bit further down the line, we're thinking, right?
Yeah.
We started getting a little too ahead of ourselves. That was going to be this episode. And you're like, can you throttle back a little bit?
Yeah, as much as I want like Junie to be part of this conversation in another window with like a full-on avatar, which would be kind of amazing. Don't get jealous. Relax. She doesn't have to be like a full-time, all right? Take it easy. That would be so cool, right? Where it's like, Junie, explain this to us, like, in really simple and easy to, like, here. Ready? Hold on. This is what makes it really, really, like, this is what makes it amazing. And, oh my God, OpenAI released some crazy things. Okay, so what could we ask Junie?
What about, one of my questions was going to be, while we were talking about, focusing on these, market and limit orders. And one of the questions was going to be, is this something I can do on any wallet? Is it only a Coinbase thing? Is it, where are the places that I can do that versus not?
Yeah. So as of right now,
and
and this can vary and this can change, but the one distinction I want everybody to be able to make here is if you're using your wallet, right, like your MetaMask wallet, right, that's your custodial wallet. That's yours. And that means that you have to now go connect that to different applications, which is more on the decentralized side, right? Coinbase, you have your name, like you don't have a wallet, you don't need to remember 12 words. They handle everything for you. But that means that is a very centralized experience, right? That's a centralized exchange. So you guys have heard this, maybe this term before, not your keys, not your crypto, right? You leave it on that exchange, you are susceptible to whatever the fuck happens on that exchange. And that is a massive, massive difference between what a decentralized exchange is versus centralized exchange. Now, where can I actually use these like limit orders? The fact of the matter is the centralized exchanges simulate a much, you guys see like the Coinbase interface, right? Like it's super seamless. It's easy. Like it's very, very just ready to go out of the box. To find that in a decentralized manner, I mean, people are still building it. It's out there, but it's really hard to find like ones that actually check off all the boxes. You can't, like, it really does. Yes, it exists, but like it's really rare that you find like, oh, I want to put a limit order for this. Uniswap just rolled this out, and Uniswap is the biggest. When you hear me say DEX, decentralized exchange. When you hear me say CEX, centralized exchange, right? Uniswap being one of the biggest decentralized exchanges, like barely rolled this out. So you can essentially put limit orders into Uniswap, but you're not going to get, and this is where it gets a little bit cloudy, where we have to start talking about liquidity. Is there enough money in the pool and all this other stuff? It gets a little bit more complex. I think we could do that, but I mean, down the road. But I think like understanding that if you're going to be trading limit orders and everything else, you're going to get the best executions, the highest liquidity, the lowest fees, and the best trading experience on a centralized exchange, especially if you're just starting out.
So, and you can't, what's the rule on limit orders for meme coins? If it's like, if a Coinbase or, Binance or whatever says that they have that coin, does that mean then you can? Or like if I go to, what's one of my other wallets, like OKX, am I going to be able to do meme coin
great question,
specific orders there? Yeah, like how do you know which ones you're going to be able to do that on?
Okay, so check here, let's share this up again. Hold on. You fancy. Okay, so all right, you see the screen, right?
Yes.
Okay, so let's see, what do we have? Is Whiff on here? You guys know dog with hat. This is a meme coin, right? It's literally a dog with a hat, right? It's not a DeFi protocol, nothing, but it's listed on Coinbase. And this is why a lot of like meme coins really like push on the marketing side, because as long as you like start generating volume, then all of a sudden these big guys, like they notice you. And the reason why you want to get listed on Coinbase is for the questions that you just asked, Magic, is I have all these different features and it now appeals to a much larger audience with a much easier trading experience. So if I click on Whiff, right? Click on Spot, like I now have this in, like it's the same, essentially. Let me move this, right? It's the same, it's the same look as BTC. So the same way that I trade BTC, I can trade dog with hat. You see what I mean?
I mean, this is stuff that I wish I knew when I got into Trump, because it would have been nice to have. And it's funny because you can sort of dream, right? I could have gone to bed and put a limit sell order in for, it was I think it was 20 something when I went, and I could have put 65 and been like, it's never going to hit that, but if it does, I'll be really happy.
It did, if you remember, right?
I know. I would have woken up very, very happy.
Yeah. Like you wake up and you're like, let me tell you something. There is no better feeling, okay, than waking up and looking at like your phone or whatever, and then being like, did these orders get filled? And then all you see is filled. And those are your sell orders, like way above. That means that you just made some money. Like that is the best feeling to wake up to. But think about it. Remember what we said earlier. You don't just want to put sells on the upside. If at the end of the day, like, you're going to go to sleep, you maybe want to limit your downside. Think about how much you're willing to lose on the trade and say, okay, I'm going to stop myself out at, let's say, 20% below where my entry price. So instead of, I don't know, $50 or $69, if it goes below, let's say $50, I want to sell it all. Done deal. And you're like, okay, cool. And you're good. You know that you have limited downside, but if it runs up, man, I'm going to be profiting really nice from it.
So okay, I may have missed it when you're talking because I was looking at the comments, but so can I can't put two separate sell orders for the same coin, can I?
100%.
Like,
you limit orders.
So I can do the bet that it's going to get to where I want it to, or if it doesn't and it tanks, I'm out.
Yeah.
Because the funds aren't locked up. You're selling. You're not buying. You don't.
Well, correct. Like, right. So you own BTC, let's say, right? So let's go back to the BTC example because I have it. Right. Wow. 99,000. What a difference a day makes. Okay. So on the limit side, okay. Let's say I want to sell, how much do I have? I have $22 in BTC. I can literally put in like sells for $1 at 100,000, 102,000, 105,000, as many as I want, just given the quantity that I have, right? Like, I can't sell more than I own. So the most I'm going to be able to sell is $22. How you want to break that up is totally up to you to decide, right?
So I can't make a sell order for sell 22 at 96 and a separate sell order for sell 22 at 102.
So think about it, right?
I would have to break up the amount.
Well, you wouldn't want to put a sell order in at 96 because it's trading at 99. Why would you want to sell it at a lower price, right? So this is where it's like sell order at 99,000. Right now, the market, like
so you don't lose any of what you.
What's that?
So say if I bought it at the price it's at right now, then I would want, and then I don't want it to go any lower. My sell order would be the price.
Oh, you're stopping.
I'm not explaining what. Yeah, I'm not.
There you go. Yeah. So think of stop or like limiting your downside as like stop loss or stop limit, meaning like I need to stop the bleeding. I'm bleeding. I don't want to bleed anymore. Sell that shit. I'm done. Right? If you bought it here at 99,000, you can put in a stop at 98,000 so that once it clicks 98,000, you're out. And you've now limited your downside to whatever, $1,000. Okay. But you can also at the same time take advantage of the upside by just putting in a regular limit order. And that's essentially you're going to be booking profit all the way up, right? I could put it at 102,000. So once it gets to 102,000, I can sell $10, $20, $50, whatever I have. It is totally up to you. And this is why I say, play with this stuff with small amounts of money so you get a feel for how these markets trade. And this, I'm going to say this like so you guys can genuinely understand. This one saying really stuck with me. It was like when like the trader that I learned from, that I was an assistant for 3 years, said this to me. She said, like, time in the market, right, is way more valuable than is a lot better for you than timing the market. Right? Like everybody thinks like, oh, this is the entry. I'm putting all my money in there. No. Time in the market. Spend time understanding how all this stuff works, what every little button here does. And then when you put that time in, you'll then be much, much better equipped to be able to take profits, limit your losses, and so on. But timing the market very rarely works out. So stop trying to buy the bottom and sell the top, because I promise you, like, nobody does that. It's very rare that you can do that or do that consistently.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and that kind of goes into two questions that I feel like we've addressed, but maybe a little bit more. How do you know how much to invest? And do you diversify? Do you go heavy?
Yeah. So this is where, like, I think that answer is different for everybody, right? There is no one answer to that, right? Like, my financial situation is different than yours, is different than the next person and the next person. So what you have to do, shout out Stevie, I miss you, bro. What you have to do is you have to decide, like, what is your risk profile, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I'm buying Bitcoin, right, and I want to buy $1,000, okay, if Bitcoin goes to zero, like, is my life okay? Am I good? Like, right? Like, do I want to put $1,000 into Bitcoin? Do I want to put $500 into Bitcoin and maybe 500 elsewhere? That is to each their own. My personal philosophy for me, and this is just me, I'm very big on, you know how like you hear in the stock market, diversification is great and da da da. In crypto, if you study something, right, or you are into a specific ecosystem or project or whatever, and you genuinely understand what this project does, what this token does, right, like what this chain does, and you have massive conviction in it, like for me, I'm doubling and tripling down because like I know that. Why would I go put money into something else, right, that I don't know anywhere near as much about just because it's like somebody said to diversify? Now that could be kind of controversial, right? Because people wouldn't make that call. I would, right? That's just for me, but to each their own. You guys have to sit down and ask yourself, like, how much money do I have? Like, what is my risk profile? And what is my time horizon? And people just don't do this because they just don't care. Like, it's crazy because like they just don't spend the time to do it. But if you actually do shit like this, you'll see like it's crazy, like how much it'll actually pay off.
Yeah, I mean, I really liked your advice of just, when we were going through all these orders and everything, just spending the time there and using little chunks of change, because there's, if you have $50 that you can do without, just getting in there and learning, I think it also, I feel like, will help you understand your risk tolerance more, right? If you like move $10 and it immediately drops by half, you're like, whoa, okay, that's I need to be careful. There's a lot going on here.
Yeah.
So
and
I think that's really good advice.
Then we can really get into the degenerate conversation about like using leverage, where if I have $100, there's platforms that will let me trade as if that $100 is $10,000, right? But obviously leverage means I'm borrowing money from somewhere. So like I've seen people put in hundreds of dollars, like, and literally get liquidated in seconds because they didn't know how it worked. They're like, oh yeah, I'm going to make all this money. Nah, you didn't really understand it. We're not going to go into it here, but yeah, like play with small amounts to begin with, because I think when you do that, you then start getting a feel, because losing $5 or $10 in your mind, you're like, shit, that sucks. But all right, what did I learn from that? You lose $500. You're not trying to be like, let me sit down for a second and what were the lessons that I got from this? You're gonna be like, So yeah. But I know this is a little off topic, but this is kind of relevant to like how my week went. So I know it's a little off, but I love this question where it's like, is ChatGPT centralized? The answer is unequivocally yes, 1000% yes. What's the equivalent of owning your own AI as opposed to using centralized platforms? It's a really good question, and I'll give it to you twofold, right? And I'm going to show you this on screen. So there is this AI, and people won't remember this, but I don't know if I mentioned this last week, but I got an airdrop that was like one of the best airdrops ever, like for like that I've ever gotten. It was a 5-figure airdrop just for using this AI platform like a year and a half ago, right?
Wow.
Yeah, just like totally random. And this is what I mean. Like the more curious you are, the more this type of shit falls in your lap. And it was like, this came out of nowhere for me. But 2 things on this. One, it's called Venice.ai, VENICE. I'm going to share this tab so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Okay, this is the decentralized version of ChatGPT. What does that mean? I'll go briefly when we get back to the crypto blockchain convo. Maybe we could put this for next week, Magic. Maybe we weren't too ahead of the curve. This means that anything that you're putting in here, right, is staying here on your computer and is not being shared with any other entity, nobody else. It is literally staying right here on your computer, not going to anybody else. As opposed to when you use ChatGPT, every single thing that you put in there is going back to OpenAI so that they can continuously train that model. So the most important, and this is what's crucial, the most important piece is your data, is you. That's the ethos of this whole shit. We are the product for Google, for Facebook, for Amazon, everything. Our attention. We're the product. This is where, and why I got into this whole like business is take back your data. And that is the power that you ultimately are then able to say, I decide what happens with my data. Google doesn't get to sell me and my data. I get to sell me and my data. And that is one of the biggest concepts out here. So I highly recommend using this. And then there's another protocol that I'm actually chatting with. So for those that are familiar with Futureverse, Aaron McDonald and a few of the others, they now partnered with a company called Think, Tink. And what they're doing is really cool. It's decentralized AI that is like a brain that you can then carry with you into like different metaverse, which is pretty fucking dope. Think about it. Yeah. So it's like you get to carry all of your data around with you, like in this little AI, in this AI brain. So no matter where you go, you're taking it with you. No matter which virtual world you go into, anything, it's yours. Not OpenAI's, because OpenAI has all these amazingly cool tools, but it's like they still own your data. They own you. You have to own you. That's what this Web3 ethos is about. But yeah. Hope that
I feel like this could be a multi episodes of just focusing on AI.
Yeah.
Let's see. What did Acro ask? Because this is kind of all stuff we want to cover as well, you know?
Yeah. So trading bots, if you mean kind of like Photon bot or banana gun bot and all these other like Solana ones or some of these others, or these Telegram like trading bots, they're good, but like that's really, really degen shit. Like for real. You're looking to snipe all these meme tokens that are just hitting the chain. You want to get in early. Look, I'll never recommend doing that as a strategy for anybody ever. Stay as far fucking away from meme coins as possible. Because like play with like certain amount of money, cool. But like to have that be the thing, you then end up like some of the degens in my chat. Shout out Village. You know what I mean? Like Village has been in the trenches recently, like learning the game. But he's a student of the game and he's kind of trying to understand it. He's putting in that time. But trading bots and everything else, if you do want to use them, Photon is a really, really good one. There's a few others if you guys want, I can obviously look up to maybe recommend for you, but I don't use them too often, so I really can't tell you because I'm not trying to snipe this meme coin or that meme coin, but I guess like proceed with caution. And the potential, yeah, that's what we talked about earlier, right? Like crypto and AI, absolutely, like massive potential. Like you see these two converging like right now, and it's going to be some really powerful stuff, right? You see these different AIs that are going to need the blockchain, like so that people can verify and be able to see what is this agent doing, right? Like what is this AI doing? Like, does it have a wallet? Is it sending money? Why is it doing that? And you're going to be able to see everything on chain. Otherwise, you have no fucking clue. You let these things like loose. It's like, I don't know what the hell this thing is doing. On chain gives you visibility into everything that AI is doing. So to me, like they're going to marry each other for sure. Yeah.
Emily said that he agreed with the advice of playing around just so you can understand with a few bucks here and there. So yeah, I'm actually thinking about once I have time that I would like to do more of that. Just get my bearings with
Maybe
sort of the trends and everything.
Yeah, maybe we do like a trading episode, like a trading space. You know what I mean? Where we load up like $100 and we do some Coinbase stuff.
That'd be kind of fun.
Yeah, we do some Coinbase stuff. We do some wallet stuff. Like show this kind of stuff in action because yeah, it's cool now to see the actual like visual. But like, what if we actually like we're trading and we're like, oh shit, maybe we actually make some money? Who knows? You know?
Or lose, but let's be positive. Okay, so also, we've talked about risk tolerance and everything, so we've kind of answered this question, but I guess I'd like to know your personal viewpoint on how what's your general indication or indicator of when you decide to take your profit or loss? Like, do you have sort of something that you live by? Or does it like depend? Like what goes on in that brain of yours?
You guys call it trading spaces. It's funny. Wait, is Bill Green Bildo? What? How did I not know this?
You were today years old?
Oh my God. I'm calling him Bill So I'm looking at my text messages, like I had to ask 4 questions until I baited you into mentioning think. And I'm like, that's you? Bildo. None of this madness, you imposter. Ridiculous. You're not going to like my answer to the question, right? Because it's going to be the same as before, where I can't tell you where to take your money, where to take profit, right? Like, I don't know, like what's good profit for me might not be good for you. But one thing I think like people really need to understand is take fucking profit. I don't care how much it is. Get into the habit of hitting the sell button when you are in the money, meaning like your trade is profitable. Get in the habit of doing it, because this is a psychological game a lot of times. You can try and keep the emotion out, and you need to the majority of the time. But think about it, Magic. I'll give you the perfect analogy. When you play poker, right? And you are the big chip stack at the table. You playing real different when you're like big, when you got a big ass chip lead and you're like, you have like the chip stack like over everybody. You're looking at the other guy, you're like, this guy that barely has like small blind, like he can't even put up the blinds for now. You're going to play very differently from like a position of power, right? And you get that position of power. I don't care if it's actually by money, but just the repetition of seeing win after win after win after win, you're going to be like, okay, I think I kind of understand how to do this now, right? Like I feel a little bit better. But that also comes.
That's a good analogy.
Yeah. So like you're going to play different, but just take profit to begin with. Like take any profit so that you understand what it feels like to do that. Because when you start off and you just experience loss after loss after loss, you just really get dejected. And stop, for the love of God. When a trade is done, whether you lost money or you made money, typically it happens when you lose money. Okay. Do not like that is baggage that you do not need. Like an ex-girlfriend from high school. Like you don't need, why are we talking about this? Let it go. There will always be another trade. And I'm constantly hearing people being like, what if I would have sold? If I would have just waited, if I would have just sold, if I would have this, coulda, shoulda, woulda, da 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 da. Like, what does that get you? Nothing. You know what it does? It like literally impedes you. It's like friggin' weights dragging you to the bottom of the ocean and telling you like, oh, you want to try and open another trade? Yeah, you're not even thinking remotely clearly because you're thinking like what you could have made on the last one. Live in reality. The reality is you lost money, move on. That's it.
There's a lot of psychology with all this that you have to be able to understand and know how to manage.
Discipline. That's what it takes. If you are not like a disciplined person or you don't know how to be a disciplined person, it becomes very, very difficult, right? If you don't know how to say, man, I'm down 10% or 15%, let me take my loss, cut my losses, move on to the next thing. The majority of people don't know how to do that, right? They just watch their positions go to zero. And it's just like, that boggles my mind. I'm like, if it didn't go the way you thought it was going to go, then why are you still holding it? They just freeze. And you know why they freeze? Because they never took profit on any other trade. So they don't know what it's like to sell and feel like the good, I made money, but like they don't want to feel that I lost money. And this whole concept of you don't lose until you sell. Wrong. You're literally losing. If your position is down because you don't sell, doesn't mean that you're not losing money. Okay. If the market is down, regardless, because if you went in that moment to try and sell your position, you would lose money. So unrealized losses are just as bad as realized losses. Understood? Like, yeah, it used to drive me crazy when I used to hear like people in VV spaces be like, you don't lose until you sell. I'm like, what? I'm sorry. But you're losing right now. Like if you wanted to sell, I'm sorry, you're losing now. So now you want us to believe that that this is the right level where it's going to turn and go back up? Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Well said.
Yeah.
So I think we're about where we want to start winding down here. So can you go over with, I guess we've been kind of all over the place, but we've been focused on crypto trading basics 101. Can you go over some of the common more popular myths or misconceptions when it comes to this?
Myths, misconceptions, like what can we actually like debunk? Yeah, I actually prepared a whole thing on this. Hold on one second. I think I have.
I'm so proud of you.
I know, right? Right.
Look at you.
Okay, wait, hold on. I think I have the whole thing here. No, not this. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Yeah. Okay, how about this? You ready? Let's do this. I like this. We're gonna do some little bit different right here. Okay. Okay. Hold on. Hey, Junie, what's up?
Hey there. Not much, just here to help. What's up with you?
Nothing. You're on Crypto Magic Hour with me and Vivi Magic, and we're getting down to the end of the show, and we were going to talk about like some common like myths and misconceptions when it comes to investing in cryptocurrencies. And I figured who better to explain it than you, like in simple, really easy to understand layman's terms. So, you got any advice for it? Like, what are some of maybe like the myths that people maybe hear that it's like, nah, that's not really true?
Sure thing. One big myth is that crypto is only used for illegal activities. While some bad actors do exist, most crypto transactions are for legitimate purposes. Another misconception is that cryptocurrency has no real-world value. In reality, it can be used for payments, investments, and more. Lastly, some believe that crypto is too complicated for everyday use, but many platforms are making it more user-friendly. Does that help?
Yeah, that does help. Are people using cryptocurrency like in everyday life now? And if so, how are they actually using it? And do they know they're using it?
Absolutely. People are using crypto for various everyday purposes. For instance, some use it for online shopping, paying for services, or even sending money across borders, quickly and cheaply. Some platforms also let you use crypto for everyday transactions, like buying coffee or booking travel. So it's definitely becoming more integrated into daily life.
Yeah. So just so you guys know, uh, I do acro.
Girlfriend.
It's your girlfriend. So I use my Coinbase card for literally everything. Literally, like I spend like I barely have like the bare minimum that I need to have in a bank account, because like I literally dove head first. I cashed out my. I'm not saying do this by any means. I cashed out my 401k once I saw like the potential to this, and I really took the deep dive. I cashed out my 401k. Like I'm like I see this so clearly. Like I didn't. Yeah, Magic is like
It gives me anxiety.
But you need a 401k. Some people do, right? Like that was more of a bet on me and like knowing what I wanted to do, because I started really understanding the space, and I had confidence like I'm going to be able to better invest this than some fund manager that's going to have me as like 1 in 5 million people in the same bullshit fund that's going to get me, 2% a year. Yay. But look, oh my God, I squirreled it. Where was I going with this? Squirrel. I know, right?
Not the squirrel.
No, I forgot. Oh my God, squirrel. What was I saying?
Because it was Junie was doing the myths and stuff, and you were asking what you can buy every day.
Oh, Coinbase cards. Right.
You lost me too, Dave. Jeez.
Hey, listen, we gotta keep you on your toes. So Coinbase card, because think about this, right? Like when you see all these commercials, like what's in your wallet, Capital One, it's like, 2% cash back on blah blah blah. Imagine you were to be able to get like 7 or 8% or 10%, right? Like from a card. And I'm not saying that specifically on Coinbase, but that's what DeFi is. And like we can obviously talk about like what these opportunities are, because this is where I think people really need to explore. So investing, trading, whatever, I think that there is massive opportunity in what we call decentralized finance, where I don't need a Coinbase to do this. There is a massive, a multi-billion dollar DeFi market out there that people can essentially put their money to work. And as opposed to earning 2% fucking cash back on a card or on your spending, right? This is where crypto that is just sitting in your wallet can work for you and pay really, really well with very minimal risk. So we got to put this on the roadmap too. DeFi for sure.
Okay, so I have a question. So when you go to say McDonald's and you pull out your credit card and you're using, and this is your crypto credit card, when you are using it, are you paying with crypto, or is it exchanging your crypto for USD during the transaction?
Yeah, so it's a great question, right? So how does it work? And it really all depends. Shout out Cash, appreciate you, bro. Like it really all depends on the vendor, right? So right now, I don't think people genuinely know this, but McDonald's has been taking Bitcoin for 2 or 3 years now. Like you can pay in Bitcoin if you wanted to at McDonald's. Like, yeah, that's a thing, right? Now, for the Coinbase card, it's got a Visa logo on it, right? So it operates like a debit card, right? You have to have the money on there. But for me, I have Ethereum on there, right? So I bought Ethereum way back, like in 2021, like before it obviously went crazy. And I loaded it up. And now I spend Ethereum. So what it does, if I go to McDonald's, Coinbase does the exchange in the background, right? Because McDonald's says, hey, we want US dollars for this, right? So if you spend $25, Coinbase sells the $25 worth of ETH plus a small fee, right? They then send that money over to the vendor in McDonald's, done and done. But the benefit there of me using that card is I get rewards in other crypto, right? Like think about it.
Is that immediate or is it like monthly?
Nope, it's immediate. It's a set percentage every month, right? And you get to choose which crypto you want. And I'll give you the perfect example. If let's say at the end of the month, I spent $5,000 between all my bills and spending and whatever, and I get back, let's say $100 of like Polygon, right? You guys are all familiar with Polygon, the blockchain, right? So I get back and it's like Polygon is like 10 cents. Okay. If I got $100, right, of Polygon and I got it and it's 10 cents, if Polygon goes to 20 cents, which it very easily can do, that $100 just turned into $200 really quickly. And things can genuinely move like that fast, like in crypto, to where like that money could be working for you. So you just got to sit down and kind of work out the finances and really be able to tell it for yourself.
Oh man, Dave, I need like a whole course. Like seriously,
Maybe we should create a course.
So much. There's so much. It's crazy.
I know.
No. So, but yeah, this was a great episode. I think we're at a good stopping point, and thank you everybody for joining us and giving us lots of questions. Maybe we'll look into the AI stuff. Maybe we're going to do that sooner than we thought. Yeah. Next week, I am traveling at the time of this show, so we have to iron out how we would like to strategize getting that episode going. Might wait till the next day, but we'll figure it out and let y'all know.
Yeah, this was amazing, guys. I appreciate everybody obviously tuning in. Share this out, please. Hanano, I appreciate you guys. Everybody that came through. Acro, Bill Green, Bill Doverde. Isn't that for Bill Green? It is unbelievable. Guys, I really appreciate it. Magic, good stuff. I love doing this show with you every single week. It's so much fun. I get to geek out, obviously, over here. And guys, keep asking the amazing questions. I love that you guys are asking questions. This is great. I genuinely love this. Tell your friends, family, like the ones that don't understand and don't get it, send them my way. Hula ho, what up? Appreciate you guys, man.
All right. Sounds good. We'll catch you all sometime next week. Bye.